Welcome to Honor the Wings Helmet. I'm Kyle Simmons, and I'm joined by former Michigan and NFL offensive lineman Thomas Guynes and the host of the ASAP Elite podcast, Rob Penn.
Yo, what up, dope?
This week's episode is sponsored by Jabs Gym. Learn the fundamentals of boxing through high-intensity cardio and strength workouts with locations in Metro Detroit, the Eastern Market, Ferndale, and Birmingham. We would also like to thank Juke. You can purchase their gear at jukefootball.com. Last Saturday, the number 3 Wolverines defeated Purdue 41-13 at the Big House. J.J. McCarthy went 24 of 37 for 335 yards. Blake Corum had 44 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns, and Roman Wilson had 9 catches for 143 yards. The win puts the Wolverines at 9-0 overall, 6-0 in the Big Ten. It seems like the outside distractions are facing our boys one bit. As JJ put it, all that outside noise is just noise. Thomas, what do you think of last week's win? And second, how do you feel about the way the team is handling the distractions?
The win is the win is the win. As I look at it right now, could have been a little bit more prolific based off the level of competition which we're playing. Yes. Was it our best game? No. But as we said, 9-0 right now, continuing to work our way to 1,000. Let that sink in. Wins for this historic program. Our need to shore up for sure, right? But going back to the way the boys are responding, even when I'm watching them on other broadcasts, things of that nature, other media outlets, and they're interviewing our guys, very focused, very well spoken, very mindful of what's going on. Are they hearing it? Do they understand what's going on? Sure, right? But again, we have to say at the end of the day, what is the big point of it all? The big point of everything is going to be found out on Saturday. Whether or not we were in the wrong, we were in the right, we were somewhere in the gray, you still got to go out and stop it. We still have to come out and stop you. I loved how Deion Sanders put it. It's a physical game, right? So this is not something where you're just out flanking people and moving chess pieces around. There comes a time where it's man against man. Am I bigger, stronger, and better than you are? Am I going to move you against your will to someplace that you don't want to go? So I think our guys are definitely stepping up to the plate, accepting the challenge, and they are excelling within this place of perceived turmoil, if you will. But when it's all said and done, did you win? Did you get the W? So as we continue to get ready for the Penn State game coming up out in Happy Valley, again, our focus has to be even more laser focused because of the hostile environment it is out in Happy Valley. Incredibly loud stadium, great fan base. I don't think they're going to have a whiteout or anything like that. But if you've ever been to Happy Valley, either to play or to be a fan, to sit up and watch a game, great place to play, great atmosphere. We just have to continue to go out, be mindful, and stay the course and understand that the mission is not done.
Well, we had a pretty good sound game. The defense gave up 13 points. You know, that's the first of the season. Anybody scoring over 10 points on us. We were sound. You know, one thing that I was waiting on, though, is the big play. For the first game this season, I don't think Roman Wilson scored a touchdown this game. I think this was his first game not scoring. Blake, 3 touchdowns for 44 yards. I've been waiting to see that 125-yard game by Blake all season. Same thing for Donovan. You know, we haven't had explosive running back play this year. You know, and I wonder why that is. I wonder, is this offensive line that caliber of that award-winning offensive line from the previous 2 years? Overall, I think we're solid. I think we're going to Penn State this week. Last year, I was the lone wolf. I picked Penn State to beat us last year. You guys remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had a little pie on my face. You know what I'm saying? But so this year, yeah, I'm focused, man. We like I said, Purdue, that was a team that we should have ran over. We stumbled a little bit, looked kind of sloppy at times, but at the same time, we still looked dominant, you know, in our terms, you know. But Thomas just said something. He said, us staying focused and really, not letting the outside dictate, how we react to the media and how we're off focus and things of that nature. We are really staying stoic and on point, handling this rather professional, and you can tell the type of organization that we have and what we're producing by the way that people are replying to the naysayers and everything that's coming into the franchise, into the organization, university, should I say.
This Saturday, the Michigan Wolverines travel to Happy Valley for a noon kickoff against the Nittany Lions. Penn State is 8-1 on the season, 5-1 in the Big Ten, with their only blemish being a loss to the team down south. Thomas, what do you think we're going to need to do to get the win this Saturday?
The big thing right now is just basically communication is going to be key. It's going to be hella loud down there. Got to win the turnover battle, and we have to win the short yardage battle as well. Also, the offensive line is definitely going to have to step up. The tackles are going to have their hands full with the defensive ends of the Nittany Lions. Rob talked about our offensive line not being the same caliber of offensive line of years past, and basically being part of the reason why we haven't really seen that 125 plus yard game from Blake, nor that any sort of real chunk breakout runs from Donovan. I agree with that to an extent, but we got to go back and look at what type of running back Donovan is. Donovan is a in the space sort of guy. Donovan is a sprinter type running back, and compared to Blake, when you look at the contrast of body types, Blake it definitely does really well in between the tackles, jump cuts, has good vision. I don't think he's the same caliber of running back he was last year. I don't know if that's the knee thing or what, but I'm definitely not seeing the overall decisiveness or instinctiveness of last year. And with Donovan, you really need to get him out in space. Donovan's not that guy that is going to be able to find and pick his way through a hole and then explode through it. Everyone got really excited based off the play down at the Horseshoe, and he had that big breakout run. But if you go back to it, that was because there was a gaping hole there. And then Donovan's natural given ability was able to get him through there, and the sprinter speed showed up. So again, go back to last week's game where Donovan, as a running back, made a wide receiver-esque sort of catch for a huge gain, huge chunk play. So, again, Donovan's that third down sort of scat back. Let's get him out some space where he doesn't necessarily have to navigate through traffic as much, and then really able to show what he's capable of doing. And that's just with his I don't know if it's world-class speed, but he definitely is able to put the afterburners on and hit you that home run. Blake on a good day is going to get you a triple, but I don't really see Blake getting the home runs just off of flat-out speed. So you have two contradictions in styles, but to piggyback on on what Rob was saying about the offensive line play, we're not necessarily there. Last year would have been like a 1A. I would definitely say this is a 1B style of performance that I've at least been observing throughout the year. And as a former offensive lineman, I definitely keep my eye on the big guys up front. If we're able to stop the defensive ends and keep JJ clean, I think we'll be fine. Also, there's going to come a point in time in this game where we may be behind. What I'm looking for from JJ is field leadership and being under control of self, meaning that he's not going to press. Typically, when JJ presses, his mechanics kind of go out the window, turnovers happen. We got to win the turnover battle, keep JJ clean, and JJ just has to stay within the confines of JJ.
Rob, what do you think's the key to the game this week?
Containing those two running backs there at Penn State. If we follow the same game plan that Ohio State did, we'll be all right pretty much. One thing about that Ohio State game, they never trailed in that game. I think they were up 20-6 at one time, and I think they may have won 20-14, 20-12, something like 2014. But they kept the foot on their gas, and they pretty much shut that defense out, and that quarterback looked very suspect. They made but at the same time, they made Kyle McCord and Marvin Harrison look rather pedestrian also. So what can Roman do? What can our running backs do? So it's going to be a low-scoring game. it's gonna be a lot of rushing yards this game. You know, it's gonna be one in the trenches, just like all the big games that we have. But ultimately, like I said, we have to control those two running backs that they have. They don't really have a passing game, that they value pretty much. But if we do that, if we can corral those two backs, we'll be straight.
And that's it for this week's episode of Under the Wings Helmet. Thank you to our sponsors, Jabs Gym and Juke. Also, be sure to check out Under the Wing Helmet merchandise at asapelite.com. Come back next week where we preview the game versus Maryland. And be sure to listen to us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and the Believe Podcast Network. You can also watch us on asapelite.com and the ASAP Elite YouTube channel. For Thomas Guynes and Rob Penn, I'm Kyle Simmons. Go Blue.
Hell yeah.